you so much for joining us today. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. It is part of the Radio Ear Network family. I am your host, Sue Ashby, and this is Over the Edge. Today's guest is a very, very interesting lady. She is a board-certified holistic health practitioner and CEO of Inspired by Life and the founder of a non-profit organization, Holistic Education Foundation. She holds an associate in liberal arts and sciences and has studied holistic medicine, is a certified yoga teacher, a master meditation leader, and a Reiki Master and Teacher. Kat, it is so nice to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Sue. I'm so happy to be part of this.
I think the topics that we're going to cover today are going to enlighten so many people, certainly me, because I'm very excited to learn more about what you do, why you started doing it, and what the objectives are for your organization. I think we all think of holistic as being whole, but I don't think any of us know what it means. So tell me what you mean by holistic.
So when I say being holistic, it means that we take into account that everything is connected. Everything that we do, everything that we eat, all the things that our bodies are exposed to, both physically and mentally, the water we drink, the sun that shines on us, all of those things make up us and our health. And when you add things that are in the positive nature to your health, you have a positive outcome. And so being holistically minded, we try to do things like eat organically, spend time in the sun, get enough exercise, work on our mental well-being, so that way we have a whole roundedness of things that affect us, resulting in a positive outcome.
That's a really good explanation. I've always thought I tried to live life holistically, and I now know that I have a long way to go. Okay.
You know, I do think that a lot of people don't realize that they are living holistically. You know, like when we choose to have a relationship with somebody because they make us feel happy, as opposed to we get rid of a relationship because it's not making us happy, that's something that is holistically minded. So there's a lot of components that make it up. And I think that people are really living holistically. They just don't realize that that's the word for it.
Yes, it's really the exercise and things that
Well,
I'm possibly slipping up on. I do try and eat fairly well. But so many things with holisticness are not in our control. I mean, for example, if one drinks tap water, I had my tap water tested not long ago, and we now have a filtration system in there. But that's pretty scary, what was actually in the water that I was drinking and never even really giving it a thought. So there's a lot of external things to do with holistically, isn't there?
Absolutely. And I think that there are a lot of people that start learning about living holistically, and it's like you open Pandora's box. Once you find out one thing, it leads you down a path of finding out something else and something else. And I focus my nonprofit on bridging the gap between living conventionally and living holistically, and trying to teach people that you can still do conventional things and be holistic at the same time. It just is a matter of finding the balance that's perfect for you. As individuals, we all need different things, and something that works for me might not necessarily work for you, and vice versa. So it's all about finding the perfect balance to live holistically for the individual.
Okay, I'm going to take you back. What inspired you in this direction? You must have had some life experiences that made you ask some questions to get you to the place that you're now at.
So I was completely conventional at 30 years old. I was married. I had 2 little kids. My husband was a highly decorated police officer. He was in September 11th.
Oh, God.
We were living a very American life. And he moved over to the Suffolk County Park Police, and he was working there for a few months, and he was run over by an ATV. And
oh my God.
it was a very trying time for years after that. He had a lot of complications from that. He was bedridden and in a wheelchair, and it eventually got to the point where the doctors were just managing his pain, and they didn't think that there was going to be anything more that they could do for him. And a lot of people had just settled into the idea that our quality of life was going to be that he was completely dependent on me all the time.
Right.
And a friend of ours said, his pain is out of control. Just go try my acupuncturist. He's really great at pain management, and maybe he'll be able to help you. And from the second that we walked into that acupuncturist's office, our whole entire life changed. We changed the things that we eat. We changed the way that we looked at the world. We stopped watching the news, which was, I didn't realize, such a big trigger from us going through such a hard ordeal. When we would watch something on the news that was traumatizing, we would have all those effects from going through all the things that we went through. And so making small changes had big results on us. And the more that I learned from that acupuncturist, the more that I had this insatiable taste to learn more and more. And so that's when I went back to school for holistic medicine. I started looking for people that were holistically minded. I had great friends who were very conventional. And when I was walking down this path of being holistic, I just felt that I was reinventing the wheel with everything, and it was very lonely at the same time. And so I joined a group of moms that were holistically minded, and I started just forming relationships with people that were living the way that I wanted to live. And the more that I got involved with people that were living the way that we were choosing to live, the easier it was to make those choices. Eventually, we sold our house, and we traveled. So all of this was, the more that we learned and the more that we did, the better that Kevin got. And he went from, at one point, drooling and being stuck in the bed near death,
right,
to he now walks with a cane. He can get out by himself. He's able to drive himself places. He kind of, as he weaned off the medication, he started getting control of his brain back again. To date, he is not on any medications, and we are completely living holistically. And so
that's incredible. I mean, what a wonderful, I hate to use the word story because, I mean, that's what it is, but I mean, it's a life-changing experience. I mean, it must have, you must have been naturally very depressed for a long time when this happened, and you couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And to find this little light through an acupuncturist that opened to, I don't know, endless light in a way, it must have been phenomenal.
We were those people that somebody actually said to me, oh, well, it could be worse. We could be you. We were in a very dark place where it just seemed completely hopeless. And had it not been for that one person at that one moment in time that we really needed it to show us a different way, I don't know where we would be right now. And so it became my mission in life to teach people what we learned, to teach people that if you want another way and you're willing to do the work, there are answers out there. Don't ever let a doctor tell you, hey, listen, you're time stamped here. I do believe in conventional medicine, and I think that if you need conventional medicine, there's certainly the time and the place, and that's what to use it for. But if there's an alternative or a different way that could help improve your life, that's something that you have to investigate also. And it's so hard. I was looking for holistic alternatives, and it was difficult 10 years ago to find people that were holistically minded. Now it's getting much easier, and I think that people are starting to catch on that it's a great way of life. But it's about finding community and connecting with people that can help you and share their advice. And holistic medicine is not new. It's been around for hundreds of years. It's actually the original way that people were living, and somewhere throughout time it got lost.
It got lost in pharmaceutical companies, I think.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. It became people making money off of keeping us sick. And with the turn of people realizing that that's not always the best alternative for them, the more holistic industry starts to grow and people start looking for natural alternatives. And I absolutely attribute living holistically to saving my husband's life. And had he continued on that conventional path, he would not survive today. People that have his disease, I think it's like 1 in every 400,000 people get the disease that was triggered from the accident. It's called RSD, reflexive sympathetic dysmorphia. Basically, it's brain damage that confuses his nerves. And the traditional method is to give them a whole bunch of different pharmaceuticals. And so the more products that he took, the more side effects he had. I'm the type of person, I could take a drug and I have exactly the benefits that that drug says that it's going to take.
Right.
My husband takes that drug and he has every single side effect. And so he just kept having to take more medication and more medication and more medication. And the more that he did that, the worse his health started to get.
So really he was taking medications in the end for getting rid of his side effects from the drugs in the first place.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And he was caught up in this circle of illness and we just couldn't figure out how to get out of it.
I am so glad you met that.
I think that a lot of people are stuck.
I think you're right. I think that acupuncturist, it would have been so easy to sort of go, oh no, what can they do? You know, a cynical reaction to somebody saying that when you're down where you were, but you had the foresight to say, okay, well, yeah, we'll try it and see what happens. And look what it's generated.
You know, my husband is much more open to holistic medicine than I am, which is so funny. Everybody always thinks that it would be the opposite. I am the biggest cynic. I tell everybody that comes to speak at our nonprofit, if you can convince me that your thing works, you can convince anybody. And it's just sure enough, every speaker that comes in is amazing and they share so many great things and just learning about different modalities and how it helps people. It's absolutely inspiring.
So tell me a little bit about the Holistic Education Foundation.
So HEF is a nonprofit dedicated to free education in holistic health and natural living. Our chapters host free meetings once a month. They're open to the public. Each meeting has a different topic, and then we invite a speaker that specializes in that topic to share their expertise with us. So, for example, we'll have people like acupuncturists, chiropractors, holistic doctors, holistic dentists, all those wellness professionals come in, explain to us what their modality of healing is and how it could benefit us. It's also a great way to meet people that think conventionally. And then we have a charitable part to HEF, where just recently we hooked up with another nonprofit called House of Hope. And it's a pantry, basically a food pantry, and they offer services to people that live below poverty level. And so we collected donations and crock pots, and we went into their pantry and we shopped around for the healthy foods in their pantry, and we taught them how to cook healthy in a crock pot. And then each person that came left with a crock pot so that way they were able to cook the meals that we taught them how to make. And so we're looking to do a lot more of that around with our different chapters.
That's fantastic. Now, how many chapters do you have?
We currently have one in Martin County, Florida, one in West Palm Beach, Florida, and one in Suffolk County, New York.
And the idea is that you get people to take on board your practices and then share the word and open chapters elsewhere.
Exactly. We're hoping in the next 5 years to have a chapter, at least one chapter in every state. Like I said, it became my mission to kind of share holistic health with everybody. And this just seems the best way that's working for me that I could share. So when somebody opens up a chapter, I go there and I teach them what I've learned. I teach them how to run a successful chapter. And then I teach them how to reach more people so that way, you know, there's a bigger understanding and a bigger reach of people that can be helped.
That is fantastic because actually so much of it is really common sense, isn't it? We've got waylaid.
You know, it seems like it's common sense, but I call that extra sense. When it seems like common sense to somebody, but it's not so common, it becomes extra sense. And sometimes people just need to be told something very basic, and then you're like, oh, that makes total sense. You know, we all have it in us. It does all make sense when you look at the big picture, but I think that connecting with somebody that says it's okay to think that way is very important.